I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and this episode we are wrapping up the topic of addiction. Yeah.
Oh, such a fun topic.
It was such a fun month.
You should have seen my mom's face when I said, guess what we're doing this month, Mom?
I know, I felt like Sandra Bullock in 28 Days, where it's like, really? A whole month? A whole month?
I know. Oh my God.
It was cool though. We had some pretty, I mean, addiction does give like great guests. We had some intense guests. We had great guests.
We had some of my favorite guests of all time. It was like, oh my God. And it just goes to show you again that I would much rather walk with the broken than the righteous. I mean, They're just so much better. Better.
By the way, before we get started, you have to show the water you were drinking, because I really thought to wrap up addiction, you were just drinking a beer.
Okay, so those of you who are listening, it's called Liquid Death. It's mountain water, drinking water from the Alps.
Why do they call it liquid death? Is it because
it kills thirst?
Oh, I thought it was
because
so many people died in the Alps trying to get that water.
And I can't remember the guy's name who is like partial owner of it. It's like Rickshaw Betty. No, I can't remember. I'll think of it.
Megan Fox's Strawberry
boyfriend.
Betty. Yeah. Strawberry shortcake.
No, I don't think it's a Betty. I can't remember his name right now. It's one of those names that like only sometimes I can remember, but he's cool.
Are they still together?
I hope so. I like them together.
Yeah, they're like two aliens, and they're kind of, I think there's a trauma bond together going on there. Do you feel the trauma bond going on there?
I like that trauma.
See, I
want to watch trauma bonds. Like it's like porn.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in one, but I like to watch from a distance.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So this month we had the best guests. We had Annie Parker, who her Insta handle is "I did not kill my husband."
So good.
Yeah, the widow of a alcoholic. Drew Wild, so the addiction guy.
Well, let's talk about Annie quick.
Okay.
Because Annie, she's a codependent. She, like her husband died of alcoholism, and I was thinking to myself the whole time, do you know how many times we have blamed each other in our family for my mom's alcohol problem?
Yeah.
I mean, so often. And I went through all the steps of what her or his family went through with my stepdad. I'd just be like, well, it's your fault, and I just, it's so hard. She was so amazing.
Yeah, she was so amazing. And it is hard because the alcoholic dies, and then you just the family's just looking for somebody to blame, and they're not going to blame themselves. So it's easy.
They don't even have to die for you to blame.
Yeah. Let's blame the wife. Yeah, exactly.
They don't have to die. Everybody's taking the blame all day, every day, because everyone's so fucking out of control of this disease.
Yeah. So she was amazing, and I love that. I love her Instagram name. I did not kill my husband. Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't.
No, awesome. You certainly didn't. She is genuinely one of the sweetest people I've ever met, I think.
Yeah. Loved her. We had Drew Wild, the addiction guy, who he blew my mind. He was amazing too. He had a completely different approach to recovery that was very much surrounding, recovery from trauma, which was fantastic.
He felt like doing a line of coke.
Yeah,
to me.
but in a positive way.
In the best way possible.
Like,
I think that's positive, right?
yeah, absolutely. I couldn't it was so funny because I was recording that episode and it was like midnight where I was and I just wanted to go to sleep. And then after we were recording, I just lay there with my eyes open. Like I could not fall asleep.
Best energy. It's like
yeah.
pure. And I love people like that because it like brings you their vibe is so high that it just like you start out, you're like, no, I don't want to go that high. I don't want to go that high. Okay, I'm here. Let's do this. Yeah.
He was awesome.
He was so good. And he taught me like so much.
Yeah. Let's we're gonna go back and go over who taught us what. But I just wanted to do like a little summary of the guests that we had. And then our final guest was Andrea Ashley, adult child pod. So she has an adult child, which is adult children from traumatic childhoods, from alcoholism, from addiction. And she has a community and a podcast called Adult Child Pod. And she was on too. So
yeah, she was great. She, I really, being a child of an alcoholic, that's, you don't really understand. And child of dysfunction, I should say, you don't understand what exactly you've been through until you really take a good look at what the constraints of what you grew up in are.
Yeah.
So she was very interesting.
Yeah.
So did you know, I was going to ask you, I meant to ask you in a text, but I'm just going to ask you here. Did you know everything that they said, everybody?
Yeah, but I think I did, but the school of recovery that I went through is about, we don't talk about that. Like it's all about moving forward. So what was interesting to me, and I'll get to this later, was like kind of like looking back, because I wasn't taught to do that really. It was just kind of like, what, it doesn't make sense. It was there's even a saying,
do the Polish ever, like, they don't like to linger?
Well, my recovery is not Polish. It's American.
Oh.
So my recovery is from America. It's not Polish, but it's just all about like, okay, it's almost like standing in front of a river with your pants on fire and wondering why are my pants on fire? Like you just jump, right? Like you just jump. So my recovery is all about jumping. And then
I think your recovery is from Canada.
It might be.
I think the guy who wrote the big book is from Canada.
Is he? I don't think so.
Is his name Bill?
You're making stuff up now.
It sounds Canadian. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, but I did know that stuff, but I was like, I had never taken a closer look. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. So let's go through like what we learned from everybody. Like, what did you learn from Annie Parker? Like, what was the takeaways from that you had? Like, what did you learn the most from her?
I mean, I knew a lot of what Annie was talking about because I had been through like detox with my mom several times. I had, I think, and I'm not living with an addict now. So it's like, for me, I knew what her message was doing for the people who were living with an addict, But I mean, I knew what she was talking about because we went through all that with my mom.
Yeah.
So it was such a connection. I think that when you're in something with an addict or with somebody who's out of control, in whatever way, it's really important to connect with people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I felt most connected to her because I could just like, it was like hearts connecting at that time because she had been through so much and tried so hard. And then she, so many times my family have blamed me. I lost my I think my mom's best friend and she, because of my mom's addiction issues and my aunt, own issues, their friendship broke up. But I think I was lumped in and lost my aunt because I associated with my mom still, so like I've taken the blame a lot for my mom. Luckily, my sister never did. But like, people want to point fingers all the time. And it's important to understand. And I don't think I did until the last couple years when I just said uncle with my mom. And it's important to understand that like, you have to put a wall up to those people that are putting it on you. You have to first like take it off you and then don't let anybody else put it on you. And I think just her Instagram post or her Instagram handle is saying, you know what, this is not me. I didn't do it. And I think that, I mean, what did you learn from her? Because she was just incredible. I think anybody who's living with an addict needs to listen to that episode so bad.
Yeah, I think grace for the addicts and the people living with them, so that like a little more understanding and sympathy, because I think and empathy, because I think that's what I got from her. Like, you can still love the alcoholic but not have them in your life, because you do have to take care of yourself. And I think so many people sacrifice themselves for the alcoholic, and then 2 people are dying, or 3 people, or 4 people if you have kids, right? So I think that's what I got. Like, save yourself, right?
I love that she said, if you have children, you need to really consider getting out.
Yeah. But I also think like this extreme empathy I felt extreme sadness for her husband and for herself and for the children. And when she told me that, she shared a mystical story, and I encourage like everyone to listen to that episode, because she shared the story of the clock stopping in her bathroom exactly at the time of his death. And that was for her a sign that he's okay. Now he's at peace. And that was just very moving. So for me, the whole episode just softened my heart a little bit, because I'm sort of from the hard ass school of like shit or get off the pot. And what I got out of that for myself was like, thank God I was able to get off the pot, but some people cannot, and he could not.
It's so
and he
funny.
Died.
It's like, I believe that that's very dichotomous thinking for people who actually love an alcoholic or an addict. Like, literally, I mean, thank God my mom's in recovery, but I will still to this day say that she has the #1 best heart of anyone I know. She's one of the most intelligent people of anyone I know. So it's real easy to say, yeah, write her off. But it's not, because she's so good.
Yeah.
And it's just, this alcohol is like Annie said, it's poison. It gets into the brain and changes you. Yeah. It's just, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. But so I think just approaching like alcoholics and codependents with a little bit of grace, and then that's what I'm going
to tell you a resentment I have.
Yeah, let me hear it.
I'm fucking pissed about it.
Okay, I want to hear it.
So this week, I'm pissed. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
And then maybe we should always just have one like episode a month where we just talk about our resentments. But
it's called a step 4 episode.
Facebook.
Let's do step 4 episode.
We should have just done all the steps. Yeah. So on Facebook, I'm sure I've told you, everybody. Oh, yeah, I know you know, but everyone might not know. But my brother killed himself.
Yeah.
So a member of my family's son killed himself, and her child, was like talking about how bleak his life is, and my mom went on there to comfort him. And, said, because my mom's actually been through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So He lashed out at her so badly and called her a piece of shit alcoholic, even though she's in recovery. Literally, this woman has done nothing for these people except for love them, even though they haven't done shit for her.
Mm-hmm.
She loves them genuinely without judgment. And they lashed out at her alcoholism so badly. And she was so hurt. It's like, and I know they're in pain, but my God, that's like the stereotypes and the stigma that, it's like, okay, she is probably one of the better people I know on earth.
Yeah.
And she has a disease.
Yeah.
And it's never affected any of these people, by the way. They live 1,200 miles away.
Yeah.
And they just lash out at her for no reason at all.
You know what? It had nothing to do with her. And I think
that's what I told her.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing that I've taken from my recovery. It has nothing to do with me. Absolutely zero. But I take it personally. And it's really hard to not take something like that personally, but it really has zero to do with her. Zero.
Yeah. I know. That's what I said. I said, they're hurting, they're this, they're that, and the other thing. And it's like, but like in general, don't call somebody a piece of shit anything.
Mm-hmm.
Addict, whatever is wrong with them. It's like, okay, if they're trying to be kind, it's just like it's kicking somebody when they're down.
Yeah.
For no reason at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as she's getting up, as she's gotten up, they're kicking her down. I'm like,
yeah.
The end. Okay, there. That pisses me off. And on Facebook, if you can't be fucking funny, then shut up. Okay, there. My resentment.
Then you're a piece of shit.
Then you're a piece of shit, Facebooker. Fucking Facebook. And he's like a 24 or 5-year-old kid. And he's like bullying my mom.
It really has nothing to do with her. Like I said, people just look for some place to place their hurt and anger, and your mom was just an easy target. And I'm sorry that happened to her. That just sucks.
It does. And it hurt her feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, thanks for wiping your ass on my mom.
Yeah. It really, she was just the victim of his,
I know, anger and frustration, out of control.
Yeah.
Dysfunction, the whole nine. But it's like, I get that. Like if I click out one time away from my mom who was just like accosted for no reason, it's like,
yeah, that sucks. It does suck.
Yeah. It's like, And you know what? They had, except for the alcohol, like, comment. Because she's kind in every other way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
So, all right, the end. Now that's out.
It reminds me of a parable that I always share when I share my story of this emperor who was like walking around the world, and he was cutting his feet because like there was sharp rocks and everything around the world. So he like went to his kingdom and he said, I want the entire world covered in soft leather so I could just walk around as I please. So like everybody's scrambling around, they're covering all the roads with the soft leather, and eventually they like run out of leather, and he's walking further and he's like, cuts his foot and he's bleeding and he's like mad, and he goes back and he's like sitting in his kingdom pissed off. And then this one farmer comes up and he gives him a pair of shoes. And he's like, here, put these on and you can walk wherever you want. And it's almost like, and I really just hope your mom continues in recovery, because recovery gives you the shoes to deal with the pieces of shit like that. Like she will no longer, because the people are like that. The world is full of cunts, the bad cunts.
Yeah.
And
not the good ones, the bad
not the good ones.
Yeah.
And there ain't enough leather in the world to cover them up, you know,
and they're full of shards of glass, really, is what it is.
They are. And
it's pain.
Yeah. And you know, that I think that's the one thing. And it still sometimes cuts, you know, but it's nice to have a method to, you know, it's nice to have those shoes
right.
to be able to deal with those.
Well, and I was so proud of her. She said, you know what, I don't have to. She eventually said, you know what, fuck you. I don't have to deal with this. I was in shock.
Yeah.
This is a woman that has sat at the same table with people who have assaulted her.
Yeah.
He has, she has a forgiveness to a fault.
Yeah.
But she finally just said, fuck you, and said, I'm not accepting that in my life. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was so proud of her.
That's amazing, because that's really hard to do, especially I think your mom is probably like us. She's probably she's got that pleaser. She wants everybody to like her.
She's the best pleaser ever.
Yeah. And ever. I think I remember that too, because I was helping a girl, you know, in recovery, and she was she called me up one day and she was swearing and yelling. And I said, you know what? I've worked too hard at my recovery to have somebody talk to me like this. And I just hung up the phone. And I remember that was the first time. And I was like, oh, I felt so empowered. Sorry, you can't talk to me this way. I value myself, you know, enough to where you cannot talk to me this way.
Yeah, I think that's the number one thing you can do is say, you know, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be spoken to that way, or I'm not going to be treated that way. And that leads me to codependency.
Yeah.
So this week I read Codependency No More
by Melody Beattie.
Yes. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I love it because I think that as a country, have we sensationalized codependency? I'm codependent. I'm sorry. I'm so codependent.
I think we have. Yeah. There's certain things that we've made almost trendy.
Yeah. We've kind of codependency is the new black. I'm
can't say that.
No, not black people,
I know,
black dress.
I'm just kidding. I got it.
Anyway. So, so I don't think we should say that anymore about bragging about ourselves.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I'm codependent, you should be oh, I'm sorry, I'm controlling.
Yeah.
Because that's really what codependency is.
Yeah.
You are literally trying to stack your fucking deck. And you don't even know what the game is. Am I right?
You're right.
Am I right?
I'm all right.
So I read that codependency is we learned from Andrea.
She's gonna shoot us in that.
She hates that.
She doesn't she's Andrea, because if she lived in Europe, she'd be Andrea, but she's Andrea.
Well, I know a male Andrea from Italy, and it's gonna forever mess me up. And now that she doesn't want it, I feel drawn to it like a
it's like a blue light on a mosquito. With her name. Andrea.
I'm scared. I can't say it.
So what did she say?
But she was talking about adult children of dysfunction or alcoholism. Mm. I think it's just dysfunction now.
Yeah.
Okay. So and we were talking about codependency. I don't think it's fair to be lumped in with regular codependence if you're a child of dysfunction.
I don't know if I understand what you mean, so please tell me more.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's the same thing.
How is it different?
Because, well, it's different in the way that you don't know any other way of life. There's no other, you're not trying to control anything.
If you're a child
just
of an alcoholic,
programmed. Yeah, or a dysfunction. You're just programmed that way. Where I think if you're a codependent, if you get into a dysfunctional relationship and eventually become that way. I just think it's codependency is easier to get out of than adult children of dysfunction.
I'm going to Google
or
that.
it's easier to or it's easier to nail it down.
It's almost like what came first, I wonder if all codependents come from some sort of dysfunction. Wouldn't you, do normal healthy people who come from the most functional families get into toxic relationships and then become codependent?
I don't know, because I have never met in my entire life a normal person.
Listeners, if you know a normal person, please send them our way. We'd love to interview them.
I can guarantee they're choking themselves as they orgasm and you don't know it.
That's normal, right?
Oh, I don't know. Is that normal? That might be the most normal thing we've talked about today.
Well, let us stay with Andrea. What did you learn from her?
I don't think it's normal to choke yourself out. I think it's normal to have somebody choke you while you orgasm.
Oh, okay.
I want to make that clear.
Let's be clear. Broad stroke apology to anyone who's choking other people.
Yeah, no, you're totally normal.
We don't mean to lump you in with those freaks that are self-choking.
I just don't think it's the same category. It's basically
we're gonna get calls it's not self-choking, it's self-asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, we're not.
And
then we're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, for encouraging people to choke themselves or something.
It's like the time that we lumped all the small penis guys in with men that kind of don't know, aren't fun to live around.
Yeah.
That got us in trouble.
All right, Andrea Ashley. We'll skip Drew for now. We're gonna finish on a high note with Drew. What did you learn from Andrea?
I mean, I learned I have a lot of work to do in that department. I really did. She gave me the laundry list, which you had right on hand, which I thought was hilarious.
It was queued up in the WhatsApp. I was just waiting.
She said, you know what you should do is the laundry list. And I heard ting on my phone.
The laundry list is a list of characteristics that are common for people from dysfunctional families. So, yeah. Did you go through it?
Yeah, I have them all.
Okay.
Except for alcoholism, which, time will tell on that one. And then, are you looking at it now?
Yeah. I can look at it. So I'll read them out loud to you. So there's, we become isolated and afraid of people and authority figures.
Definitely.
We become approval seekers. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
We are, I'm just going to answer for you.
Yeah.
We are frightened by angry people and any personal criticism. I have this.
Seriously, that is one of my most terrifying things.
I cannot do angry people. I can't do it.
It makes me so scared.
Yeah, we either become alcoholics, that's me, marry them, or both, or find another compulsive personality, such as a workaholic, to fulfill our sick abandonment needs. We live.
I feel I have dated. I married an alcoholic. I'm not married to him anymore.
Yeah,
or at least I think he was.
You did. I think you're so self-reflective that you've worked out a lot of the stuff. But think of yourself in your 20s, and you probably all of these. Right?
I was a fucking wrecking ball in my 20s.
Yeah, we live life from the viewpoint of victims and are attracted by that weakness in our love and friendship relationships.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah. We have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility. Oh, you're out of it now? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that lesson got learned recently, like in the last
just in
couple
the
of years.
last year. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility. You have this. It's easier for us to be concerned
So
with
bad.
others than ourselves. Yeah.
I think I'm better at myself now, but I definitely in the past haven't.
Yeah. We get guilt feelings when we stand up for ourselves instead of giving in to others. I have this. Super guilt.
Yes.
Yeah. We become
Yes.
addicted to excitement. I have that for sure.
Why wouldn't you? That doesn't sound like
That
a
doesn't sound
bad
too bad.
thing.
I'm going to cross that one off the laundry list.
Yeah, because I'm not only even excited about things in my life, I'm excited in everybody's life.
Yeah.
I'm just happy when people get stuff or achieve or
yeah.
that's a hell of a trait to have.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good one. So I'm crossing that off the laundry list. We confuse love and pity and tend to love people we can pity and rescue.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I definitely have done that in my life.
Yeah.
I basically dry humped that so hard in my life.
Yeah, and I think Andrea talked about that. Like she wanted to rescue both Brians. So she talked about that. Yeah, she did talk about that. Yeah. We have stuffed our feelings from our traumatic childhoods and lost the ability to feel or express our feelings because it hurts so much. I don't think I have this anymore, but I definitely think I had that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one I have 100%, and I know you have it too. We judge ourselves harshly.
I'm so mean to myself sometimes.
Yeah. It says here, have a very low sense of self-esteem. I don't have a low sense of self-esteem anymore, but I still have that inner critic.
I definitely don't take credit for if I sometimes feel stupid. I sometimes feel like, I mean, I just have genuine feelings of not being enough in a lot of departments.
Yeah.
You know, it's not physical. I don't think I'm ugly.
No.
You know, I don't feel, you know, I guess now I feel like I've accomplished enough that I feel good about like things, but like sometimes I just don't feel smart. Sometimes I just don't feel like enough, especially in the mother department. Like I'll feel insecure.
Yeah. You compare yourself to other moms?
Never.
Okay, good.
I think that's the kiss of death.
Yeah. Good.
Because other moms were chosen by people other than Scarlett.
Yeah.
I also hold myself a lot more accountable because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, she chose me to be the best for her.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that is it's really the kiss of death to compare your momming to another person.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you look over and you're smoking a cigarette in the car with your baby and that other mom isn't, maybe you should follow her. If you're like a train wreck of a mom, find a mom that you respect and do what she does.
Yeah.
But I think once you've gotten to a level that you're healthy, I think that you need to really do what's best for your child.
Yeah. Great. We are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment. Yeah. Alcoholism is a family disease. We become para-alcoholics and take on the characteristics of that disease, even though we did not pick up the drink. It's interesting.
Yeah, sure. You become reactive.
Yeah, and that's the number 14. Para-alcoholics are reactors rather than actors. So, yeah.
Yeah. You just become reactive because when you're little, you know, I remember like I was insecure. Like I was insecure if my mom was going to be drinking because she just wasn't the same person.
Yeah.
And I would like try to do anything I could to distract her from that.
Yeah, because you didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
Yeah, I was scared. Like it was not as predictable as the wonderful Mary Poppins that she was
yeah.
when she wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
You know, it's like So I think if you're because I came into my 20s thinking I had the best childhood on earth. Did you do that? You're like, no, my childhood was great. You knew it was bad.
It wasn't bad, but I saw the faults. I saw the faults.
See, I think mine was really good.
Yeah.
But in my 20s, I thought it was perfect.
Mm.
So, but if you realize, if you know you had dysfunction, you really need to explore this adult children of dysfunction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good
Because
one.
it's a lot of the way you react to things. I mean, Andrea said, Andrea, I'm scared of it. She, she had some really good points. And if you had dysfunction, listen to that episode.
Yeah. And I think the biggest point is we're drawn to the dysfunction because it's all we know. So
it's our home.
That's what I took away from that. Like, I'm gonna pay closer attention,
I will say when I got with Jason, there was a period of time where I found him extremely boring.
Because he was so nice.
Because he was normal.
Yeah.
I mean, not normal, but
yeah.
God, not normal. But
yeah,
like he wasn't reactive. He wasn't, he didn't get extremely angry. He didn't, there was not, there wasn't the highs and lows. It was very even. And that was like disturbing.
Yeah.
It was the first relationship that I had ever had that wasn't tumultuous.
It's disturbing because it doesn't feel like home. It doesn't, the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't, right?
Turns out that's not true.
Yeah, it's not. So yeah.
When I found Jason, though, I said, I can't do this anymore. The only thing that is in common with these relationships that I have is me.
Yeah, common denominator. Yeah, exactly.
So I said I'm going to date all different kinds of. I'm going to say yes to people that I wouldn't normally say yes to.
That's cool.
I think that's a huge tip. That's a dating tip.
Yeah.
If you're having trouble, find somebody who's not like your type.
That's like the whole premise of Love is Blind. I don't know if you watched the show. Have you watched Love is Blind the Brazil version?
No, but I get so pissed at these people.
You would like
when I watch it.
I think you would like the Brazil. I don't like the American version. I hate it, actually. I like the foreign versions. I like the Japan version. I like the Brazil version. It's totally different.
Is it subtitled?
Yeah, it's subtitled.
Okay, so I'll have to read. All right, I'm fine with that. If it's that good.
It's good.
Okay,
so
I'll watch that.
Drew Wild.
He's so cool. I loved him. He's so our type to hang out with.
Yeah.
I would hang out with him.
I would hang out with Drew, and I think we're going to have a Q&A with him. So we're just going to figure it out. So maybe in a couple months, we'll do a Q&A with our man, Drew.
Yeah.
But I learned so much from him. And I was so skeptical going in because I'm like, there's only one way. I mean, I know there's lots of different ways to recover, but I was like, I wasn't skeptical. I was skeptical, but open-minded. That's what I wanted to say. And he really,
so good.
I was really pleasantly surprised at everything he had to say. So I was happy with him as a guest.
Do you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
And you're might get mad at me for saying this. Aubrey Marcus.
A little bit. Yeah.
Are you mad at me?
No.
Are you mad at me for saying that?
No, I'm just disappointed.
Oh, that's okay. Because I've healed, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
He reminded me of him in the way that he surprised me.
Yes. Yeah. I like that.
And he was really genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. He so what did you learn from him the most? Like what did you take away from Drew Wild?
I mean, everyone has dependencies, and I started looking at people's dependencies, coping mechanisms, and I could see so clearly that we all, even if it's not to a fault, we all lean on stuff hard when it comes to coping.
Mm.
And sometimes it's something really good like exercising or eating
Yeah.
healthy or some sort of virtue signaling.
Yeah.
You know, a lot
Yeah.
of times people, it's like church
Yeah.
is your coping mechanism. That's the exact same
Whatever
thing.
you're using not to be, what did he say? Not to be in the full experience of life. That's your coping
I
mechanism. I loved
know.
it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I kind of get like judgy, and it will, again, this is just going to be an episode that we get a lot of write-ins on. I, you know, why, if you're Christian, don't you go out and like walk in the steps of Jesus? I just like, but it is like church is a coping mechanism.
Okay, I'm going to veer off a little bit. I'm going to go off piste in our conversation. Okay. Have you listened to the podcast Scamanda?
No.
Like Amanda, but Scamanda.
Okay.
You gotta listen to it. It's about this girl, Amanda, who was a very hardcore parishioner and tricked her whole church and her whole community into thinking she had cancer and was dying, and just swindled people out of loads of money, including her own family. You got to listen to this. And every, oh my God. Anyway, it's a great podcast about a really great scam. Anyway, getting back to
I might use that as a coping mechanism this week.
I love the segue back to that.
Yes.
So that's what you learned from Drew, and just being aware of that.
If it's not, it could be church, it could be working out, it could be eating. But like,
what is it for you?
I'm
curious. What is it for you?
It's probably nutrition. I lean into that. I love to cook. It's cooking. I do, and I fight with all my might, surround myself with a busyness that is not normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that might be like one that's kind of bad. I think that would be my toxic trait right now. Is I'm just not able to relax like that. I do too much.
Okay.
What do you do? What do you do now? You're working. You're a workaholic.
You know that. So I recognized it as soon as, like, actually the episode with Drew was really, I learned the most from him, from all of our guests, because I really recognized it, like, holy shit, I'm using work to escape from being in the full experience of life. Like, I'm just throwing myself into work. But now I've taken pause and stopped taking on every single project, and I'm focusing on one at a time. And definitely eating food. So I think a lot about food. What am I going to eat today? And like, I just think a tremendous amount about it.
I want to also add that onto my mind. I didn't think of that, but I am constantly thinking about food. So I'm glomming onto that.
And I would say also, like, I escape a lot into television, like Netflix. Like, I will just binge watch, or this podcast, I just binge listen. And it's a form of detaching from whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I know that, like, we talk about addiction and stuff and distraction, but like, sometimes it's not that good here. So detaching is nice into like a nice book or a nice meditation or a nice, does sex count?
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
I think everything in moderation is fine, but once it starts crossing over to where you're using it to actively detach,
but absolutely
from the experience
everything we've talked about is dopamine.
Yeah.
You get dopamine from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, but then there's that whole cycle. If you go overdose on the dopamine, then the pendulum swings back harshly the other way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think what else I learned from Drew was, and this I think is sort of the common thread for this month for me, is about the small traumas. small rejections from the parents or small rejections from the partners, or this trauma. That trauma is very much connected to addiction and this need to escape. So it's this avoidance of wanting to avoid the trauma.
I probably shouldn't tell this story. My mom's best friend, they connected on Facebook this week. And my grandmother, her mother, she's kind of like put up on a pedestal in our family. Like she's just a strong woman. She raised 5 kids on her own. But the lady's text, she said, "Do you remember the time that your mom came home from work and she was mad because we were using the hot water? So she turned off the cold water and held my mom's head under the scalding hot water."
Yeah, yeah.
Did I tell that story already?
You did when you were when we were with Andrea.
Did I tell it then?
Yeah.
I can't help but think, like, I mean, that is so bad. Why wouldn't she try to get away from those traumas?
Yeah.
And if that's the one you saw, then there must have been so many more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, it's heartbreaking. And I think that, but that's the big time traumas. What you're talking about is the traumas that, like, and I believe this to be true, that like a mom can just not even acknowledge something in their child and it becomes a trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
They can just choose not to look at it and it's a rejection.
Yeah, exactly. The little tiny things that happen over long periods of time. Those are traumas. So, and looking at that, and how to release that. So I think that was, if I'm going to take anything out of this month, it's me like thinking about ways that maybe I could take a step forward in releasing some of that trauma, because it is in my body. And Drew talked about this, that it is physically kept in the body. So I can do all of my recovery work in the world, but I would like to release that from my body.
Body keeps the score.
Yeah, body keeps the score. So so I think that's what I got out of all of the episodes, out of all the guests we've had. That's been what's going to help me the most personally. Yeah.
I think I think that for both of us, I think that's really something that we need to work on doing. And I think that for me, it's like, I did want to say this before we get off here. If anybody's listening, it's really important. Annie Parker was serious about not taking the alcohol away when they're detoxing.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Because that's what killed her husband. And she wants people to know that. No cold turkey. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that up just for her and honor her message with that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important. But, we're chugging right along here.
It was
and I think that it's really important. This was the best month. And thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I really do. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah, me too. And next month, it's another fun. We're just doing the whammies, like the other C word, cancer. But we're going to look at the fun side of cancer.
Yeah, seriously. Let's have a little fun with cancer.
People are like, what are you talking about?
You know how people always say, fuck cancer? You see the bumper stickers everywhere.
Yeah.
And they wear shirts and they have hats. It's like, I think we should have a shirt that says grunge funk, fuck cancer, or something like something funnier than just fuck cancer.
Yeah. We'll think of something.
And we're also going to learn how to like eat and nutrition that is anti-cancer. And we're going to do some fun stuff.
Yeah, we're going to meet my friend Carrie from, I went to high school with her, and she is handling her breast cancer like a fucking champ. She is like the most
it.
positive ray of sunshine I've ever seen. And she was so inspiring that I'm like, reached out to her. Man, it's so funny because like I was not friends, with close friends with her in high school. And there's so many people that now I'm seeing them on Facebook. And I'm like, I wish I wasn't such a fuck up in high school because I would have been friends with some really cool people. But
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I've seen some of mine too that way. And I'm like, this girl named Kendra, like she is like super cool. I'm like, we now would be best friends.
Exactly.
And back then I was such a fuck up myself.
Yeah.
So
oh well.
Whatever. Broad stroke apology for being such a fuck up.
I love you.
I freaking love you. You're the best.
You're
See
the
you next
best.
Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast, the duct tape of self-help.
Please visit our website, weneedhelpthepodcast.com, where you can find links to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and all the others, so you'll never miss a show.
You'll also find links to the books we've reviewed and our amazing store.
If you enjoy this podcast, go right now, because if you're anything like us, you'll never do it later. Like and share our page and episodes on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or just tell a friend about the show. That would help us out too.
Also, feel free to let us know what you need help with, and we'll try to cover it in a future episode. You can also find us on Instagram at weneedhelp_the podcast.
Thank you for listening.